Welcome to Nacho Fitness Coach,
the podcast where fitness is more about fun than form.
I'm Sara, the fitness expert who lifts heavy and loves a good challenge.
And I'm Caleigh, a newbie who runs more for survival than sport.
We're here to remind you that fitness doesn't have to be serious,
but we definitely take the snacks seriously.
So if you're looking for some laughs and a few questionable fitness tips,
you've come to the right place. Welcome to season 5. Hey, welcome back to Nacho Fitness Coach, the podcast where Sara struggles to read big words and I struggle to read social cues.
I did not go to school for that. You know,
to read?
I mean, yeah, just to like
read words,
to articulate the alphabet, apparently.
Oh, that's
so hard.
What a way to put that.
So this is not on topic at all, but I have a new favorite Instagram page.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sesame Street?
No, I should have paid more attention to that though growing up. Oh, it's like, how do you pronounce these things? And some of these are new words. Some of these are new words that we did not used to have back in the day. I mean, or, you know, you didn't teach them in English in elementary school.
Sure.
Right? I do have a new obsession with Instagram, and his handles, it's Bobby Finn, and he is hilarious. Well, we should have plugged in something to the booth and like be able to play it through, but he is hilarious. So he does these like English lesson videos.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Like just how crazy the English language is.
Yes. Yeah. And he's like, what's this word? And he'll have health written on the whiteboard. Mm-hmm. And somebody be like, health.
Yep.
And he's like, no.
Yep.
Why would you think that?
That's
and he's
so
like, what's this one? And so the one he did most recently that I saw was like the New England version of English class. And it was, they put like Dunkin' Donuts, you know, Dunkin'. And he's like, that's Dunkies. He's like, no, it's Dunkin'. Dunkies. You know, because he had like a friend that kind of sat in with him and he's like, how do you say this word? And he wrote Harvard on the thing. And he's like, that's Harvard.
Harvard.
That's Harvard.
Oh,
I'm going to go park my car. It's Harvard. And he's like, no, there's an R. And the guy's like, what? Like, no, that's not right at all. And so then he wrote Connecticut on the board. And he's like, that's a black sheep of New England. And he goes, yes, you're right. And like, that was my territory for my job for a really long time. Like many years I had like the Northeast, like anything from like Maryland up through, I had Connecticut. And you drive through Rhode Island to get there. So it's like any of those states kind of in between, I would have meetings, and God, I love that part of the country, but it makes me laugh every single time because it does make you realize how absurd
crazy
the English language is.
You know, like I always mention, I homeschool my kids. And so like I have had to be the one to teach my kids how to read. And I've always been reading was always really easy for me. But some of these rules in the English language, and I'm trying to explain it to my 6-7-year-old, and she's like, well, like, why does phone start with a P? And I'm like, I don't know. It just does.
Because the PH says, like, it's like, what? Huh?
Yeah.
Why?
But not in the word foot or,
no,
you know.
It's
just a crapshoot.
It is really hard because then, of course, my husband will go on these tangents where he's like, no other language is this difficult or this hard to learn. And that's why you can be a multi-language speaker, is because some of them are a lot more similar and a lot more straightforward.
Sure.
Like, but the English language, you know, but then you throw in the UK version of spelling things versus the American, right? Because it realized for them, a lot of things have a S-E-D and we're Z-E-D. Or we'll say A to Z, and they'll say A to Z.
Yeah. Or like how they spell color or favorite. They throw
the U in there.
I just recently learned in the last few years there's 2 ways to spell. I knew there was 2 ways to spell gray.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what's
the right one?
The right one. And what I learned was in America, which starts with an A, we spell gray with an A.
Oh. So I do use gray. I feel like
I'm just stuck with that.
Yeah, just go for it. So interesting. Well, I have one more.
Okay.
And then I lost it.
Oh, shoot.
Because you went to transition and I like dumped it. And I was like, okay, maybe that's not like so important anymore.
It's important. Everything you have to say is
Oh,
important.
you know what? I will probably remember it like halfway through the episode. And
Apologize if you do. Please say it.
Gray. Oh, canceled. Because
oh, yeah.
that's a hot one.
Yep. I thought for the longest time, well, during COVID, when I was running that toy library.
Oh, yeah.
And I made a post that was like, play is not canceled. And I spelled it with 2 L's because I'm a great speller and I didn't need to question it.
Right.
And then I learned that that was wrong.
It is wrong. But do you know what? Now it's one of those that I see everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And people spell it with 2 L's.
I never even gave it a thought.
I didn't either because that's all I've ever seen it spelled as here. And I'm like, oop, that's wrong now. Canceled actually.
I think COVID really brought that to light because everything was getting canceled.
Well, now we have a canceled culture. Everyone's getting canceled. Everything's canceled.
You canceled with 1 L or 2 L's?
You know what? If you try to cancel me with 2 L's, I'll just laugh in your face.
You would laugh in my face if I tried to cancel you.
You make sure that if you're going to try to cancel, that's your cancel. That's such a dumb thing. It's not
all
even a thing.
All right. Silly goose fun.
So there we go.
Rolling. 5 minutes in. Let's ready, set, go.
Yep. All right. So I kind of threw this topic out there. I was like, this could be something we talk about. And it actually kind of came up a little bit in last week's episode when we had Lindsay, our amazing guest that came on to kind of share her weight loss story, you know, and we were talking about like the pictures and the progress pictures and things like that and how your back side of you that you don't see in the mirror, like you'll see a lot of changes back there. You maybe feel it in your clothes or whatever. It's something that I think people don't think about. And we've talked about how fat leaves from like absolutely everywhere in your body, right? And I do feel like all of the years I've coached clients, I had things one-on-one, just sidebar conversations with people, you know, if you are pinpointing certain areas on your body that you want to change, they tend to be the ones that have the most body fat nestled in them, right? I mean, they're biggest around, they're, you know, whatever else. And so you get hyper fixated on just waiting for that thing to be gone.
And you're not paying attention to all the other things that are happening.
Right. And so, but what you're not realizing is it's leaving from everywhere.
Yeah, even there. It's just not as much progress as you were like, or you wanted that to go first. Well, it is leaving from everywhere. Yeah. And so like at one point, I think I just had made this analogy with a personal training client at one point. I'm like, you have to kind of look at, and maybe I just watched Shrek pop up or something. And then you talk about his personality. He's got to be onion. You know, he's got all these layers. You got to peel things back. And I'm like, you know, you almost have to look at your body as like, you got your skeletal system, you've got your muscles. And if you think about your fat as like layers of an onion. Yeah. Right. And so you're like, okay, well, that first level of fat is like your first layer and second layer and third layer. But like the areas that you have more settled in around, you got more layers to get through. Yeah. Like plain and simple before it's gone. And, you know, I mean, there's things I just remember when I would get ready, super close to fitness competitions, like the area under people's belly button is the area then that at that point you fixate on a ton. Yeah. Nobody else will see it, but you will be obsessed with this like tiny little fat pocket that's just sitting still under your belly button. And it's like, when people look at you from head to toe, and you will look great. Everyone is a beautiful person and you're unique in your own way. Me looking at you, I'm seeing everything head to toe. Yeah. But when you look in the mirror, your eyes go straight there.
Straight to that one spot that you hate the most. And it's like you got to realize that there's just more volume of layers to get through, and it's going to take more time. You just got to be patient and wait it out.
For sure.
Be consistent. It's working. Yeah. But then, when you're getting to the point where you're picking at.
Yeah, I think I want to say it was our boy Ryan Reed from Instagram. Yeah. I think he had a video. I think it was him. It may have been somebody else.
He talked about the pooch, or he's like ladies, or is it a different one?
It was somebody talking about, it may have been him, but talking about the like lower back fat.
Oh, I missed this one. Okay.
It was like, I want to get rid of this. You'll pinch it and be like, I want to get rid of this. And he was like, you want to get rid of the fat that's protecting your kidneys?
Right.
That's what it's there for.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like spilling over, but it's, you know, a lot of times we look at these things and we think it's just like an, you know, this unsightly blemish or this thing that's wrong with you, but your body needs fat, and
Yes,
it's going to
100%.
it's going to hold fat. You know, at the end of the day, it's going to hold on to fat in the places where it needs to. And you might not realize the purpose that it's serving, but it is serving a purpose. You have things in your body that need protected. We're not supposed to be at 4%
Nope.
body fat.
We are not. Nope. And even the people that get there, they're there for a blip.
Yep.
And then they bounce back into like healthy ranges, you know, especially for females. Like what we talked about with Justin, understanding that your cycle plays in a part, right? And so not only do you have like water retention, well, where's water going to sit? Water's going to sit in the areas that you've got higher body fat percentages, because that's where it's going to like pool up, right? Okay, so with that, we're going to take just a quick little ad break.
For more content, follow us on TikTok at Nacho Fitness Coach. Okay, we're back.
And so it's got to go somewhere. So it's like you're retaining water. It's sitting in those areas which make you feel bloated and bigger to begin with, but it's going to be there. And you've got your cycle to pay attention to, but you also then too realize that you have a certain body fat percentage as a female to be healthy, especially if you are trying to have children. And your body knows here's your most fertile decades. And it's like, no, it's going to protect you to a certain extent.
Yeah, this is where you need to have fat.
You've got to
a purpose.
You've got to have this, and it's keeping you in that healthy way. And like, I do feel like a lot of times, especially like for women, if they're wanting to have kids, it is this balance between, and if it's not happening for you as fast as, I mean, obviously there can be a variety of factors that play into fertility and things like that. I feel like people will talk a lot about maybe needing to lose weight to have kids, but sometimes you have to gain it. If you are really tiny and lean, your body might also be saying, I'm not really sure that I'm in a healthy spot to grow a healthy child, right? I mean, I did get to the point with one of mine, like I had to gain like 10 pounds. Yeah. Because it just was like, nope, you are too close to have done a show and you're not built to be this small. And which is true. I mean, I hadn't been that body weight for a long time, you know, probably since middle school, honestly, right? And so it knows, and you can do things to outsmart it. It's fine. But long term, you got to look at your overall health. And there's a reason why people don't stay super lean all of the time.
I remember after I had my first daughter, I got really, really skinny. I think, you know, I'm 5'7", and I think I hit 119, 120 for no particular reason, but I just did. And, you know, I felt great because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the skinniest because I gained so much weight when I got pregnant. So
I blew
for all
up
that
too.
To just fall off the way that it did, like, you know, in my mind, I was like, this is great. But I remember like looking it up for the first time, like, is 120 a healthy weight? And having it right in front of my face, that was like, no, it's not. I was like, what? What do you mean?
Everyone thinks smaller is better. Yeah. Or like if you're not
about it, but
you're not happy with where you at, you think like that's the answer. I'm like, it's not always the answer. You know, it is happy. But he had another video that he did that was about the pooch. Yeah. He's like, people always come to me and they're like, you know, again, it's that area like under the belly button. He's like, you're not. You're supposed to have it. It's beautiful. It's part of who you are. Like, it's fine. Stop picking yourself apart. Because again, if you look at somebody from head to toe, that is not what people see. Yeah. Now, if it's affecting your self-confidence, things like that, like, then maybe listen to Justin and go tell yourself 10 times, I love you into the mirror. Start with that first because nobody else is seeing it. Don't pick yourself apart about it. But I do also feel like it impacts not just females, but I think it impacts males too. It does. You know what I mean? Because especially for men, a lot of times the middle-aged kind of dad bod, right? It's that gut. Yep. And it's the plumber's crack when your jeans aren't fitting anymore and your butt starts hanging out when you're bending over. I mean, it is a real thing. And it is, I mean, it doesn't get talked about a whole lot with guys, but, you know, you definitely, that would be part of what I feel like a lot of men are trying to attack. Well, you know, you can't just pinpoint where fat loss is coming from. No. You know, so it's just kind of trying to, I guess, create an analogy that paints of pictures in people's heads to maybe help you more realistic.
So just think of it as an onion.
Think of it an onion.
Go Shrek.
Go watch Shrek. And the little donkey's telling Shrek that his personality is like onions. Yeah. You're just peeling it.
Fat's like an onion.
My fat's like an onion. I'm just peeling it off one layer at a time. And then go take your pictures, progress pictures, so you can do side by sides. And then that's when you really do get to see, because you're looking at it. I feel like when you're looking at progress pictures of yourself, it's almost like you're not associating that with you.
Right.
Because you're, for the first time, instead of looking in the mirror and looking at that point that you hate, you are looking at yourself head to toe like everybody else. And then you have them side by side and you're like, oh my gosh, I can actually visibly see that like the tops of my legs are smaller. There's like a little bit more gap between my legs. Or like when I turn around and that extra roll that's right under my bra strap, oh, now there's, instead of two, now there's just one roll. And you're like, oh, whoa,
I
it
think
is
even
changing.
just to take, like I had mentioned last week, that I had just taken, you know, my before pictures, and not for weight, but because I started this, you know, carnivore thing. And I'm like, I just out of curiosity, how's this going to change my body in even small ways? But I waited until it was last weekend. I waited until my husband was gone. I went and set up the tripod in the basement. Yeah. It's a funny story, actually. The reason he left was to go buy, we're doing like a home gym in our basement. Yep. And he left to go buy mirrors to mount on our walls. Yeah. So he left and I'm like, all right, now is a perfect chance for me to like get in my bra and shorts. Yeah. Because
I don't want him to see this.
No, and set up the tripod. And so I did it. And I stood in the spot in our basement that has like a plain wall. And I'm like, this will be great because it's a plain wall. I can take these again. I took it in front of the wall that he was going to buy mirrors for.
Well, next time you can just stand and clip do the picture through the mirror.
That's
and
like
away you go.
Just do it in front of the mirror.
Yeah, it'll be perfect.
It just didn't cross my mind. But it was like, to look at those pictures, I'm like, it was humbling because you don't see yourself from those angles. You know, like you said, when you look in the mirror, you stand the way you want to stand. You posturize yourself the way that you want to. And so to kind of see it in that, like the picture of my back, I was like, you don't ever see your back. And I was like, ooh,
you don't
just
ever see
because I've never seen it.
Right.
You know,
I know.
Like, that's what I look like.
Yeah. I mean, because even if you're taking like just casual pictures with a crowd or group of people or whatever, like it's not usually your backside. Not usually. I mean, every now and then, I guess. But, you know, it's just like for me, you know, after having 4 kids, like I'll fixate on the fact that I feel like my abdominal wall is still like protruding a little bit. Right. And so it's like I'm sitting here grabbing like what my fat is versus my muscle. And I'm like, well, there is fat there, but there's not a lot. Like it could be worse. But I was like, my muscle's still like out. Right. And so it's like I'm sitting there and I poke, I'll look in the mirror. And then, of course, you know, you're seeing like any stretch marks or loose skin and you're picking yourself apart that way. And then it's like you do your progress pictures and I'm setting it up from across the room, all of the things. And you do the front, you do the side, the back. I always say do both sides because you never know if you only turn one time, but then one another, you're going to be mad.
I did 4 pictures, just front, side, back, side.
Yep. And the other thing I will say that when you're turning, before I talk about my own pictures, is it always happens that like when you turn and then you turn again, that back picture will be closer to your camera than your front. And so I'm always like, I hate resizing progress pictures because I want them to be true side by side. Yeah. I don't mix with the lighting. I don't do anything. It's like, they're the raw images. Here you go. So when you're doing your progress pictures, do your front, kind of stand where you're at, turn, but then make sure that shoulder is like up against the wall. Yeah. And then when you turn to do your back, make sure your face is like as close to the wall as like your butt would have been. Because what will happen is as you're turning, then you're like, oh, I'm too close to the wall. And you like take a step closer to the camera. Yeah. But then it kind of messes with your side by sides. Yeah. Or you like if you try to do like the front, the back, and all the angles. So it should be bigger.
Interesting.
And then so anyways, but that one area then on my abdominal wall, I'll be like, it's sticking out way too far still. It is. But then you do that full like side to, side profile. And I was like, well, no, that looks normal. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm 43 years old. Like, that does not look what I'm seeing in my head in the mirror. Yep. And so it's like, just give yourself some grace. But that's like one way we're like, okay, maybe this will take my mind out of it and just be like, oh, these are true pictures. This is data.
Yep.
This is information. It's a snapshot in my journey. And you're always glad that you have them.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I made myself do it, because I've never been able to bring myself to do it before. And I'm like, well, now I'm doing a thing that could potentially result in some changes to my body. And I know I'm going to regret if I don't do this.
And you already are regretting not having them from the very beginning.
Exactly.
You know, and you're like, oh, it's just not quite the same. But I do have like a folder, which I keep dumping them into my pregnancy folders because it kind of encompasses like my whole just like body journey.
That makes sense.
And so I'm like, I do dump them into a folder and then delete them from my like photo wall or like my album, only because I'm like, oh, I hate also then scrolling through and then those pop up every now and then. I was like,
do you ever hear the people that are like, I have a whole album just of me getting fatter? No, because I take all these before pictures and then like just never end up losing the weight.
Oh no!
So like now I'm gonna start. So they take pictures and now they're even bigger than they were.
Oh well, I mean that could happen too. You just never know what the journey. But
it's data.
It is data, and they're snapshots, but they help paint your picture. And like it is kind of, I mean, it is emotional and it's personal and all of the things. But like information is power. Okay, so with that, we're gonna take just a quick little ad break. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Nacho Fit Coach.
Okay, we're back.
Data is power, and just being able to be like, I'm going to document this part of my journey. That's it.
It's just amazing how hard we are on ourselves. We were talking between episodes earlier about when I edit our videos to post on social media. Yeah. And I have no problem coming up with videos or,
of me
finding, little clips or whatever of you. But I try to like keep it even. I try to be like twice a week, there's 2 videos a week. So one's going to be of you mostly talking, one's going to be of me. And I mean, I dread, and it's fine. Like, I don't feel like I'm like terrible at what I'm doing, but just to sit there for an extended period of time and watch videos of yourself, that's hard.
That is hard.
And I think it's good. I think it's helpful. I think everybody actually should like watch videos of themselves where they weren't trying, like when I'm here, I'm just talking to you.
Right. Yeah.
You can see like even like the way that you look when you talk, or the way that you look when you turn this way or that way. And it's like, you don't see that in the mirror.
No.
Isn't it crazy to think that you've never actually seen your own face?
No. Yes, it is very crazy.
Because I have
it in a mirror about that for sure.
And you've seen it in photos.
Yep. Yeah.
But you've never actually seen your own face.
No. And that is actually crazy because I will think about that too, because you're always seeing yourself from the front.
Yeah.
And I was always somebody, not as much anymore because I feel like as I've gotten older, I care less. But growing up and say like through high school, I would never wear my hair the same 2 days in a row.
Oh.
It would either be straight or curly or half up, half down, pulled back. I don't know, but it was like a thing. It was like a nervous tick where I was like, nope, I would not wear my hair twice.
Were you afraid people were going to think you didn't shower?
I don't know. It didn't stem from anybody. It was just the way I chose to get ready and present myself. I think I just like to be able to be like, no, I'm going to wear my hair this way today and this way today. But I just wouldn't, it would never be
interesting
2 days in a row of the same style. Right. And so when you're fixing your hair, you're looking in the mirror and it's like, I mean, I'm like, I'm just going to, however I see it in the mirror, I'm just going to leave it.
Yeah.
And then you very quickly realize, well, everyone else sees you from 360.
Yep.
Right. And so, it's like, well, that bun sitting on top of my head now looks great from forward, but then it's just like, it doesn't look, you got to check all the angles.
Look at all the angles.
Look at all the angles.
I've struggled a lot with, especially my side profile, because when I look in the mirror, I look one way, but I have this nose situation that from the side, it's a whole different nose and it's a whole situation that I don't see, but I'm like, to come to the realization that is what other people see.
Oh, yeah.
And it's probably not as jarring to other people that see me on a regular basis. But when I see it, because I don't see it very often, I'm like, oh my God.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there recently we were at some different community events, and we have this amazing community newspaper that they come out every single week, and they document the things that happen around the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happened there was this one particular week where it was like a couple of big events happened in town, and I just happened to be at both.
Mm-hmm.
And I happened to have then candid, random, like, audience shots that I wasn't paying attention to.
Those are the worst.
And see myself then in the nnewspaper as like an audience member for an auction, and then at like a meeting at our school. And I was like, that's what people see.
Uh-huh.
It's like, whoa, you know,
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
just like that weird random angle that you don't see. Like, even if you gave yourself the side eye and your mirror, like,
Nope,
it's just not the same. Like, when you get ready and I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
I thought I should, my hair should, you know, I probably should have put my hair in a ponytail that day, and I left it down, and it was like, you know, I don't know. It just, you start picking yourself apart.
It's interesting
and
to see yourself in different ways, because the mirror does not.
Yep.
Not give the whole story. And also, like, don't get obsessed with it like that. Like,
no, but
you know,
I do think it's good to see.
It is good.
Because I also feel like if you do not like looking at yourself in a mirror, that is also a very slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not looking at yourself, then you kind of stop paying attention to certain things too. So making sure that you have a full length mirror, and this applies not just for women, this is men, women, whatever else. I mean, check yourself in your full length mirror, because you owe that to yourself.
Yeah.
To be like, this is me. This is who I'm presenting myself out.
Yep. You
can do your little, like, you know, self-help mantras or whatever too while you're doing it. But it's, I mean, then you can, changes don't just happen overnight. Then if you're paying attention to what's going on, right? And so when you stop looking, you kind of almost stop caring, I feel like, which is not what you should do, because health correlates on the inside with how we are on the outside. And so it's important to keep it in check.
I agree.
I think so. Anyways, that's just the whole analogy of the fat loss onion, and just mindset and perspective when it comes to fat loss, and being proud of your journey and the small wins. Yeah. Which I think Lindsay kind of talked about. That was one thing that they kind of coached her with, is just recognize the small wins. You can do a journal, you know, keep track of some things, write it down, but be mindful.
Be mindful.
You're doing great.
I'm so proud of us for getting through this whole episode without talking about buttholes. Oh, man.
Me too. Oh, shoot. I just ruined it for us. Darn it. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we'll have to find something else that tastes like one.
A butthole?
Yeah. I don't know, 'cause apparently that's what you...
Hopefully your butthole doesn't taste like an onion.
Or a protein shake.
I think I would rather have my butthole taste like a protein shake than an onion.
Well, probably. I'm guessing it probably depends on what kind of protein shake. Maybe. I don't know.
What kind of onion?
Oh, no. We're losing. All right. We're going downhill fast. I'm going to wrap it up. All right. That's all we got for you. So until next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to head over to our Instagram at Nacho Fitness Coach and let us know how you feel about the topic. Do you love it or hate it?
Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening. And if you like our podcast, leave us a rating. See you next time.
You've been listening to Euphony Innovatives Sonified.